So have you ever found yourself, after a new bike purchase, carrying a credit card bill? There may be a reason why, and that's the hidden costs of bike accessories. So today I'm going to give you the cold, brutal truth on how much accessorizing your new rig, in this case this Argon 18 Dark Matter, can cost you, and what accessories I'm going to pick when money is really not an object. For bottle cages, it's a bit of a tough choice because I have a whole bunch. This is a genuine Arundel side loader. I've done a video on this one. This is a 7-gram cage that absolutely amazed me. And there's imitations of Bontrager and other type cages here from AliExpress. But what I'm going to go with is, this is an AliExpress knockoff of the Arundel Mandible. It's not the lightest, but they've never let me down. So they're 25 grams each. Oh, that one's a little lighter. I have a lot of pumps. I'm like an absent-minded professor, and if I just had one pump I moved from bike to bike, I would forget it. This would be my choice of pump, the 100cc 1-Up. Fantastic pump. The issue is, it doesn't fit into the snack box. Also, it does not have click compatibility unless you look at one of my click videos and you hack it. I had no desire to do that. Surprisingly, the 70cc version also does not fit into the snack box. I think if you had a bigger bike like a 3T Explorer with that massive down tube, it'd be no problem. Before I got the Argon 18, because it was delayed, I thought I was going to use this pump, which is an 85cc Wolf Tooth. Not the lightest, but this also does not fit into the snack box. What I was left doing is using a Wolf Tooth 40C pump, and one of the reasons I picked it was because I can get a click head on it. For chain breakers, it wasn't tough. I've done a previous review on chain breakers. 1-Up ones and this specialized one, which fits in a compression bung, is sort of painfully average. And I don't like this one because when you store the chain links, they are exposed to the elements and can rust. So that's out. This Granite Designs one is exceptional and works as well as a shop chain tool as far as I'm concerned. So I decided to go with this. Not exactly the lightest. Weight includes the SRAM Quick Link. I decided I'd store the Granite Designs within the Wolf Tooth pump. The issue is, if you can hear it rattling around, that would drive me nuts. Simple solution. All you do is take a piece of foam and jam it in. Then put this in. You can see it's got a little resistance there. And then there's, oh crap, just a sec. One more piece of small foam. And in. And shut. No rattle. That's a much simpler solution than paying for the Wolf Tooth one with the sleeve on it, which would be probably about $60 or $70 US or more. I'm putting the pump up into the snack box. And what I'm going to use to do that, to keep it from rattling, is a legendary AliExpress He Chooses brand pencil case. Pump fits quite nicely in it, keeps it from rattling around. And further, to make extraction easier, I put this construction twine on here. The other advantage to this is, if I want, I can untie this and use this to break a quick link. See my chain breaker video. For a multi-tool, I've got two options. I've got this 1-Up EDC tool, and this is sort of an industry standard. I've used these on multiple bikes, and I probably have about 5 or 6 of them in service now. I've never really had an issue with them. Or the Wolf Case end case. Now what's surprising, it's actually lighter than this tool. This tool has a lot more advantages though, because you can access the tools quicker rather than faffing around with these magnetically loaded bits. I'm going to do a little bit more detailed review when I compare these two in another video, but this bike will get this tool. This is Argon 18 snack bag. You can see you've got tie downs and little pockets in it, and I'll be using these later on in the video. I'm also going to use a Bontrager top tube bag. And what's special about this is if I pull one of these out, I'm going to be using a nut from Bontrager that you tighten with your fingers. And you can also use an Allen key on if they ever come loose. For tubes, I'm going to use the Silca. I believe these are 45 to 60 mil gravel tubes. These of course are premium. I don't have any videos on this. One thing though, I want to just point out to folks, is if you're using these, leave that plastic cap on so that you don't damage your tube, because I've seen it happen before, I can guarantee you. But I want to point something out to you. These are about $60 Canadian plus shipping. These are about $30 Canadian, and they're from a brand called Eclipse. Do you see any similarities here with the seams and everything? And they even have the same BS directions as Silca. Not bad. This is the gear I'm going to carry within the pouch for helping patch tires, less the tire plugs. For TPU tubes, alcohol pads, your super patch. These are far superior to anything else as far as I'm concerned. The GP2. I've obviously got a very popular video on that. This is for roughing up and removing sealant in the event I get a sidewall tear and I have to use a tire boot 2 from Park. I bring 2 just in case. Because I'm running click valves, I bring 2 Presta-Cores and a spare tool just in case. I've got a big ass 25 gram CO2 with a Granite Designs head on it. If I was using 1-Up, I wouldn't need that. A spare SRAM battery and a tire glider. I've done tests on these and I prefer them. This is the version 2, which you have to use with these wider rims rather than this version 1 here because of the diameter, or width, pardon me, of the rim bead. Tire glider, not that heavy at all. CO2 and the head weighs a bit. Let's just put everything else on here. That is a lot of peace of mind for almost no weight. This is everything in the snack box bag. You see you got the tire boots, all the accessories, the battery, and everything here. One thing I will note is I could not put a TPU tube in here conventionally folded. You got to muck around with it. From an engineering perspective, if there is one shape that is very difficult and inefficient for its volume, it is this shape right here. And it creates a royal mess when you're trying to put this in and get all your gear into it. Okay, that wasn't too bad, but any tighter and it'd create problems. I'm curious to see if this gets into the bike. You'll notice I did not put the multi-tool in the snack pouch. The reason is that rather than using a proprietary driver like this for the Stan's Dart, I'm just going to use the bits in the tool. And I'm going to mount this in my top tube bag where there's quick access to it. See, look at that, no problem. Also, if you look at the WTB rockets, I can just put that in with a 3mm bit and drive the bacon strips. In addition to this, because it's not much weight, I'm going to use a Dynaplug carbon racer as my first line of defense with a big end on it and a little driver. This mounts on the seat tube bottle bolt bosses. In addition to that, I'll carry a few extra little goodies with me, just in case. Sometimes it takes a lot of plugs to fix some of these nasty leaks. And the idea behind not burying this anywhere and having quick access to it is you can do it right away before you lose too much air, especially considering that I'm carrying a tiny pump. There's the weight of everything I've added. For 34 grams, that's a lot of peace of mind. The multi-tool and the tire plug accessories will go in the top saddle bag. Some additional accessories I bought for longer remote rides I have where I can be up to 2 hours away from anything. And what that is I don't have room in the snack box, but I'm going to add the lightest bag possible, this Totsi, link in the description bag, that I put an additional Eclipse / Silka TPU tube in. And what's interesting about this bag is the strap I bought for the bag weighs almost twice as much as the bag, so I may change that, and I tuck that under my seat. And I may also add an additional CO2 with a better head on it in said bag. Like I said, I'm not including these in the weights, but the costs of the bag, the tube, and the strap are. For Garmin mounts, this is a Tate Labs. These are relatively light compared to the stock Garmin, so I'm going to go with the Tate Labs. And for my rear-facing Garmin radar, I'm going to go for this for a 27.2 seat post. You can get lighter 3D printed ones, but I'm just not going to bother. Oh boy! With money being no object, here is what all that crap weighs that I'm going to add to my bike. And that is approximately a fair question is, why wouldn't I just use this fantastic day saver that I previously reviewed and said is one of the best multi-tools around? It is. But I much prefer this tire glider as my tire lever on this gravel bike. The tire glider was selected based on the ease of use with the setup I have and the tires I have on the Argon 18 gravel bike. But for the last 6 months, I've been using these tire levers as a result of the comments I got in the previous tire lever video I did, and research I did for another video on quite possibly the worst tire lever ever made, this Silka tire lever. And in probably a month or two, I'll be making my final opinions on these tire levers. It is the Tire Monkey version 1, version 2 tire glider, obviously the Muck Off, the Pedros, and the Swabble levers, along with this Decathlon lever. These ones, based on a search of YouTube, are the ones that have won previous tests. Let's see if we can get this in. There goes the pump. Up into the snack box. And now this, I tried this before. This was a pain. Let's see if this will go. There we go. No problems. And let's see now if we can get this snack box closed. Oh, wait a minute now. Oh, yes. This is the new inverted water bottle mount position. Back to the drawing board. That works way better. Now, one of the advantages is when you want to install bottle bolts here and faff around, you can move this cage out of the way. This wolf tooth tool is growing on me a little bit for things like water bolts. As a pro tip, always put the seat tube bottle cage on first if you're putting two on. One of the greatest tools for doing water bottle bolts is this unchi. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. The reason is it's just a simple turn. If you've got reasonable hand strength, you can get around pretty much anything. See if I can get this to work. There we go. I've got the Dynaplug on the non-drive side for better access. Quick pro tip with the Dynaplug. If you put this too far in against the cage, it will open it slightly, leading this to rattle. Now, this doesn't look all that great, but I've never lost one on my cross-country bike doing some pretty extreme underbiking. Not everything's perfect in paradise. These holes are slightly wider than these holes, so I'll have to take the drill to this. So the way I carry things on this bike is the Dynaplug is ready to go so I can immediately seal any leaks. And for any reason, if that doesn't work and I've got to jam a big hole, I've got my handy wolf tooth tool ready to go with a Stan's dart on it. Also, if you're racing, you may want to carry one of these CO2s. And in this case, this is a higher end one, Lesign, I believe, and you can modulate it so you can control how much air you put in and out. This could go in your top tube bag, could go on the frame with some attachment, or you could put it in your back pocket. I should mention to you though, once and only once in my entire career, I ate crap and I actually managed to puncture a 20-ounce CO2 while it was in my back pocket. That was not pleasant. After using the industry-leading MAE Bikr shop towel test, it's pretty clear, even after a quick wash, that the snack box door is not waterproof.
Heinz and I recommend that you use plastic bag technology to protect anything that may be damaged by moisture. Right, little buddy? Whoa, yeah. Oh boy. All this goodness is not cheap if you look at this overall cost, which is approximately $440 US. And that's at the current Canadian exchange rate, which seems to get worse every day. You're paying a bit of the wolf tooth premium right here for this end case stuff. And I didn't bother getting the other end case stuff that goes into the pump, just simply because I already had comparable stuff in stock, let's say. The Dynaplug also is not very cheap. As you generally see, it's smaller dollar items that add up to this big bill. And on top of that, you're paying a lot of money to add a lot of weight to the bike you've just spent a small fortune on trying to make lighter.
After roughly $450 US, I've got this thing tickety-boo and ready to go. And that's something you should factor in to your budgets if you're like me. And because you're absent-minded, you have to have tools on all your bikes rather than switching them around. So with that, if you got any questions, you got any comments, or you just want to light me up, you know where to put it. And always ride hard.